right. Looks like we are live on TikTok, live on Facebook, and live on YouTube. Awesome. Give people a couple moments to file in while I finish my setup here. I hope you all came ready for a crossword. One across is already on the screen as usual, so if anyone wants to get a head start. Happy April. First day of April. Okay. Okay. I think we're set up. Hello, and welcome to the Daily Crossword Live, where we solve one of Arkadium's crossword puzzles together. My name is Jack. I'll be guiding us through this puzzle, but these are always the most fun the more collaborative they are. So you can always see the clues up here in this green panel, and if you think you know an answer, just shout it out, and I will try to incorporate everyone's feedback. Good morning, Breed. And hopefully, we'll make this a crowdsourced solve. The more people that play, the more fun we have, and the faster we crack this beast. So, has anybody? Hello, Bonastasio. Top of the morning to you. I realize I've seen you a lot, and I have no idea if I'm pronouncing your username correctly. So, if you want to put a phonetic hint in chat, I will try to course correct there. Alexander, welcome back. All right, we got the usual crew starting us off. So we have one across is trunk. Not the most straightforward clue to start on. So let's see what else we have. Two across is dirt. All right. And my first instinct is like soil, but obviously that doesn't fit, so not sure what that's going to be. More parched. Okay, this is like a comparative clue. So it's like thirstier is going to be the form that the answer takes. And then 20 across is host. I know a thing or two about hosting. So who thinks they have the first answer of the day? We got, oh man, I'm still setting up my chats. Okay. Gil, welcome. Drier. Yeah, more parched. That makes sense. Drier. And, yeah, it's always a mystery. Do you spell it with a Y or with an I? Gil spells it with an I, and I tend to agree. I think with a Y is like the machine that dries your clothes, I believe. But when you're just saying that something is drier than something else, then that's with an I. Nice work, starting us off strong. Let's see what those downs get us. Hand over. We got a D in the third slot. Damage with an R. Musician Clapton. Someone's got to know this one. That's a bit of a gimme. A bit of a gimme. What do we think? And then what do we have here? More sharply inclined. Okay, another comparative clue. So this might also end in some kind of ER construction. Let's see. Sergey, welcome. Yeah, Sergey never disappoints. It's very true. Eric Clapton. Yeah, Eric Clapton. And Alexander coming in with harm. All right, we're already working together. Usually things pick up about halfway through stream when we're already, down in the middle of the puzzle, but this is great. Yeah, Alexander always present. All right, so we have trunk at one across. Weird. I thought this was going to end up being like torso. They sometimes call it the torso of the human body, the trunk, but it fits, but it doesn't fit with our current letters. So my first instinct was wrong. Dirt, still not going to be soil. Is it dirt like gossip? What are we thinking here? And then what's this? Host. Okay. This is an unusual letter combination, so that should be screaming at us. And not only that, but these two letters alone are already short for what the answer is. I'll supply it. 20 across is MC, and sometimes that's just abbreviated to literally the letter M and the letter C. So I am your master of ceremonies today. Gilnu MC, nice work. And let's see if that E does any good work for us. 1 down, hand over. 4 down is more sharply inclined. Yeah, I'm not sure. This could be inclined like literally tilted, or it could be inclined like what you're prone to do. I'm inclined to do one thing over another. And then menace. I don't remember if we saw this one. Menace. I think trunk might be the most gettable of the current batch. And crossing hand over. I think 1 across and 1 down are a good place to focus. And then dirt. It's not soil. It's not gossip. What do we think? And let's check out this itty bitty entry right here. Golf goal. Okay. Golf goal. Usually 3-letter golf entries is a T. It's a very common crossword entry. T-E-E, you know, the little prop that you put the golf ball on. King of Street Fighters, welcome back. Yeah, saying par, that looks good. Yeah, your goal in golf is to hit par. Nice. Nicely done. So maybe that P helps with more sharply inclined. Remember, we're thinking that this is probably going to have an ER at the end or something like it for because it's a comparative clue. And then 5 down is menace. Menace. I feel like this could be a noun or a verb. Like to menace someone. And then we might as well, yeah, inclined steeper. That was what I was thinking too. Very literal interpretation of the clue. Just, you know, it's more inclined. It is steeper. Nice job. And that S is looking beautiful at 1 across. Who has spotted trunk? It's not a tree trunk. It's not your torso. Ah, threat. Okay, good work. Yeah, menace. A menace is a threat. Nice. Nice one, Gil. Okay, now we just have 2 letters left in this section. We better see them now. Yeah, trunk is a chest. Awesome. Again, you know, just straight synonym, a trunk, a chest. They can refer to the same object. Yeah, now dirt, which was hard to see at the beginning what exactly they meant by dirt, but this is looking like earth, you know, sometimes they just call the soil in your garden earth. And to hand over is to seed. Nice work. Pretty smooth first section. That bodes well. All right, we got an I part, 6 letters starting with an R. And 26 across is and so on, and it's 2 words. 2 words. Who thinks they know that? 32 across is an active person. Nice, retina. King of Street Fighters. Yeah, that looks great. Ah, and Sergey coming in with etc. Nice. Very good. Strange looking letters when you spell it out all the way. Cool, and those letters should help in this tiny little section we got here. 26 down is boundary. 27 down, babies, piggies. Okay. Piggies in quotes meaning, you know, this is what we colloquially call them. They're not literally piggies. Highland Scott. Huh. Okay. What do we have here? Oh yeah, an active person. Ah, nice. Alexander writing and King of Street Fighters coming in with edge for boundary. I like that. Oops. Not how you spell edge. Yeah, I like that. The boundary of something is the edge. Looks good. Active person starting with a D now. Ah, Barindra. Barindra looks new and yeah, also got edge. Very good work. and welcome. Welcome to the Daily Crossword Live. Hair goo and Boston time zone. Who thinks they know this? Sergey coming in fast with gel. And the King of Street Fighter is telling me that an active person is a doer. Yeah, that makes sense. Again, not a word we typically spell out, but definitely a word, you'll use. Oh, he's a real doer. He's always on the move. Okay, so now we see that babies' piggies are referring to toes. Like, this little piggy went to market, this little piggy stayed home. Anyone else's mom do that when they were a baby? Highland Scott crossing a Boston time zone. Yeah. Sometimes when you're left with one letter left, it is glaringly obvious. This one is not as glaring, but someone probably has it. Yeah, EST. So I believe that's Eastern Standard Time, and the Highland Scott was a Celt, which definitely makes sense now that it's in the grid. But I needed a lot of crosses to understand what they were getting at there. Nice work. We're making smooth work of this. 29 down, foolhardy. 30 down are locales, places. 33 across, a shooting range feature. And what's the central answer? Malady. Okay. Any ideas here? We could check the N as well. Take a breath. Yeah, King of Street Fighter says locales is areas. That looks good to me. Yep, places, areas, locales. Nice. Does the R help with shooting range feature? I think it does. What's 34 down? A festive event. Yeah, take a breath, inhale. King of Street Fighter's on an absolute tear today. Nice, and Alexander going with target for a shooting range feature. That also looks beautiful. Jodawa, welcome. Another name I don't recognize. Also coming in with inhale. Nice work. Okay, now foolhardy looks a little clearer with all these letters in place. And what was 34? A festive event. King of Street Fighter's noting that Target is their favorite department store. Yeah, and something fun about crosswords is you can have an entry in the grid have clues of totally different directions. Target can bring you to the shooting range or it can bring you to your favorite department store, all depending on what the constructor has in mind. Nice, Jodawo writing rash for foolhardy. That looks like a lock. If you're rash, you're not taking your time with your decisions. Of course, none of us in chat know what that's like. 39 across is a malady. What's this little guy? 2, and this parenthetical means that it's in Spanish. Someone definitely knows how to say 2 in Spanish. Gobi for 1. Anyone remember what Gobi is referring to? Yeah, Sergey coming in with dos. That looks good. By the way, happy April Fool's Day, everybody. Anyone have any good pranks planned? Anyone been pranked yet? I was thinking of what pranks I could do on stream, but nice. Sergey writes that it's the Gobi Desert. Great work. Ham it up at 22 down. Ham it up. Okay. And then we have a lot of these letters now on malady. Do these help? And have we looked at 44? A hot drink. Okay. Hot drink seems very general, except when you know it's 3 letters and it ends in an A, there actually aren't that many options. King of Street Fighter says we play Sudoku after this as the prank. Wouldn't that be fun? Just spend all day together doing puzzles, all the puzzles that Arkadium has to offer. We'd be here for a long time. Nice, hot drink is tea. And Jodawo telling me that the malady is disease. Great. Just like that, the central section almost entirely filled. So festive event. Okay, that's making more sense now. And Florida City. What do we think for the Florida City? Any Floridians in chat? Okay, 39 down counts calories. And what's 44? Oh, nice. Jadawo telling me a festive event is a gala. Let's see. Gets uptight. So no one pranking anybody today, huh? Is April Fool's Day dead? Or maybe it's more of an American thing. And chat tends to be pretty international. Tiny landmass. Jadawo saying diets for counts calories. Nice work. Gil coming in with answers from a while ago. I wonder if your messages are being delayed, because Target and Kelton EST, we finished up a little while ago. Tiny landmass. No ifs, blanks, or buts. Okay. This one we definitely know. That's a gimme. Often I find that fill-in-the-blank clues are easier than other clues. Gap, 63. And crude metals. What's that referring to? Okay, Boise State. Kind of another gimme, at least for Americans. Spanish title. Jadawo's guessing inlet for tiny landmass. Maybe. It sounds plausible, except I think of an inlet more as a tiny river. So not a landmass. But I like this suffix of let, which kind of is a diminutive suffix. It means that something is tiny. But maybe it's an islet, like a tiny island. What do you think of that? I like where your head's at. And we can check 48 to see if an S or an N makes more sense. Spanish title. Yeah. Yeah, you had the right idea, though. Boise State. Okay, we all know this. I can't leave this out here hanging. Boise, Idaho. And let's see what these letters have to offer. We also all know this one. Oh, we didn't see this clue. 51 across is honor roll, 2 words. Not immediately sure, but Alexander's telling me that a Spanish title is a señor. Nice. Yeah, and that gives me more confidence about islet. Great work. So crude metals, gap, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm putting that one in. Yeah, Sergey's putting that one in. And 49 down is a large spoon. Somehow I missed this clue. Did I also miss this one? Gets uptight. Okay, gets uptight, large spoon. 63 is a gap. Yeah, King of Street Fighters writing ores for crude metals. That looks great. That looks great. So, we're really closing in on this section here. Large spoon and gets uptight. For large spoon, we're thinking like... Barinda writes tension. Yeah, I think you're in the right vein, but tension doesn't quite fit, but tenses, I think, might be the answer. Like when you tense up, you get uptight. That fits. So yeah, but you had the right idea. Nice work. And 49, we're being told, is a ladle. Awesome. Let's check the crosses as usual, just for good measure. A gap is a hole. Yeah, that totally fits. And what is honor roll? Okay, now this is easier to see. We have deans in place, which I think is the first of the 2 words. Deans what? We have this little 4x4 puzzle here, all on its own. It always feels sad sometimes when we work so hard to get all these entries to give us more information for the next section, but that section is totally choked off from the rest of the grid. So once we finish this, we're going to have to start afresh in a new part of the puzzle. Sometimes it feels like I did all that work just for these little 4x4s here. Sergey and Jodawa telling me that it's a Dean's List. Awesome. And King of Street Fighter says a perjurer is a liar. That looks great. That looks great. Okay, a Peruvian Indian above and decomposes. And what do we have here? Knowledgeable about, kilt wearer, and faucets. All right, I think we'll manage here. Nice, rots. Yeah, 67 decomposes is rots. Great work. Sergey coming in with a double. Tells me that kilt wearer is a Scot. Nice. We have Scot and Celt in the grid today. And that, what was your other one? Inca. Yeah, good. Peruvian Indian is an Inca. That looks great. King of Street Fighter saying brain rot. Yeah. The Daily Crossword Live is here to combat brain rot. Everyone's scrolling TikTok, seeing their brain rot memes, but not here. We're not rotting our brains. We are enhancing our brains. That's what crossword puzzles do for you. 64 crosses above. Faucets and knowledgeable about. Okay, so even if you have no pranks planned for today, have you pulled any good pranks in your life? Or been pranked? I remember in high school I drank a lot of Coca-Cola. Alexander writes a top. A top for above makes a lot of sense. And let's check the crosses. Knowledgeable about is into, like if you're really into music, you're knowledgeable about it. That looks right. And faucets are taps. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, let's go up here. We kind of have two options. We could go up here or down here, but I like the top to bottom approach. So let's see what these letters are. 22 down is ham it up. Let's load a couple clues into our collective short-term memory. 6 down is 50%. Barinda writes, you're in Indonesia practicing your vocab, so it's nice. That's great. Welcome from Indonesia. Stagger and breathe quickly. Okay. Oh, but I was saying, while we think about these clues, I was saying I drank a lot of Coca-Cola when I was in high school. And we had a 2-liter Coke in our fridge. And one day, it was April 1st, and I poured myself a glass of Coke and took a sip and immediately ran to the sink to spit it out because my dad had swapped the Coke with black coffee. That was an awesome prank. And, it's one thing, okay, black coffee is not the worst thing to drink, but when you're expecting Coke, it's a pretty rude surprise. Alexander says 50% is half. Nice. Nice. Okay, Angel's Instrument. And what was this one? Between Continents. Okay. Ame, welcome. Ame telling us that an angel's instrument is a harp. Who watched Ame's stream yesterday? And who's watching it tomorrow? She's streaming again tomorrow. Let's see. India's continent. Barinda, you're on the same continent right now. Barinda says, sounds like you got an amazing dad. I do have an amazing dad, and he's actually in chat right now. Hopefully not pranking me. Stagger Yeah, King of Street Fighter says India is in Asia, of course. Very nice. Between continents, kind of a strange clue. And a property right, okay. And remind me what these are. Stagger and breathe quickly. Okay. What are we thinking? And 21 across, wavering, starting with an FA. I'm sort of wavering on what that could be, actually. Oh, actually, oh, I missed it. Gil writes, ham it up is emote. Yeah, that looks right. To emote is, you know, to display your emotions, really ham it up. Okay, cool. King of Street Fighter says pant, maybe, for breathe quickly. Yeah, I like that. It's definitely what panting is. Awesome. Yeah, between continents, anyone make sense of this? It looks like it's going to be Asia, but it's not. We already have Asia in this section. It's something else. And 18 across, a property right. All hopefully revealing 21 across. Nice. Ame, thank you. Looks like a property right is that a lien? Is that how you say that? And Alexander says a sea. Yeah. I think this was kind of tough because a sea means like being on the ocean, on the water. And so when you're between continents, where are you? You're in the ocean. You're a sea. Great work, Alexander. Okay, now it's looking like stagger is real. I think that looks promising. So 21 across. Now we have a bunch of letters in place. Okay, I'm no longer wavering on this one. And have we checked this? M comes together. Okay. Hardens at 10 across. Uncluttered. Divas solo, our classic. It wouldn't be the Daily Crossword Live if we didn't have this entry in the puzzle. King of Street Fighter says, you're faltering now. Yeah, well, that's why I have you guys to help me. So that when I falter, you guys pick me up. 13 down is Fawn's Fathers. Okay. I'm never good with, like, gendered animal names. Contaminate. Scary. And what's this one? Traps. A lot of vagaries up here. Nothing feels like a lock, you know? Comes together. Traps. Who has ideas? Either give me an answer or give me a prank story. It's April Fool's after all. I told one of my best prank stories. Alright, King of Street Fighters chooses answer and writes that comes together as meets. Yeah, that makes sense to me. When you come together, you meet up. Kyle Hendel, welcome. You seem new here. And 10 down snares. Yeah, I love it. Snares and traps. Strong start from Kyle. Hope to see more from you. Hardens with an S. Uncluttered with an N. And Divas Solo, which I think we all have memorized by now. Scary, ending in an IE. Okay. Not too many options there, actually. Contaminate with an NT. King of Street Fighters, getting 2 in a row. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, now we're really rolling. So 16 across is neat, uncluttered, and neat. Yep. And Kyle telling me that scary is eerie. Yeah. I felt like with just the I wasn't sure, but with the IE, there aren't actually that many words with that lineup of letters. Nice job, Kyle. Okay. We're almost finished with this section. Contaminate. Fawn's Fathers. Yeah, okay, the T and the G make this a lot clearer. Kyle, do you solve a lot of crosswords? Diva Solo. I almost want to supply this one. It's a tradition here. Aria seems to be in every single crossword puzzle. It's because it's mostly vowels, and vowels make crosswords easier to make all the words interlock. Barinda, nice work. Sets, yeah. So hardens, I'm thinking of like Jello, it starts off as liquid, but then when it sets, it hardens a little bit. Great work. And Sergey says that stags is fawn's father's, and contaminate, we'll check, is taint. Nice job. Nice job. All right, new section. We only have kind of 2, 1.5, depending on how you count, sections left. We're going pretty fast. Has anyone thought of the Florida city? We looked at this ages ago. Any Floridians? Sarasota, nice. Nice job. I don't know if I know that city actually. I don't think I've been there. Oh, Kyle calling in from Australia. That's awesome. Make a sweater. Japanese wrestling. Okay, all these crosses are looking good with Sarasota. Yeah, you might be the farthest from me in terms of who's calling in. Sergey, nice. Sumo for Japanese wrestling. That's gotta be right. Nice. Ame, knit, and pairing it with a beautiful emoji, a skein of yarn. Love it. All right, clouds locale. Numero blank. Yeah, Barinda asks about chat. So we're on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube right now. So I think I'm seeing you, Barinda, on YouTube. But there's a lot of people chatting on TikTok as well. So I'm sort of replying to everybody. In the center of, with an MI in the center of it. Oh, and 40 across, we got a lot of Spanish counting in the grid today. Yeah, we got uno and dos. Numero uno, nice. Everyone coming in with that. Oh, Star Wars character. When we just had the A, I thought this was going to be Leia, like Princess Leia, but now that conflicts with the O. So who knows the Star Wars character? 35 across should make it a little easier. Yeah, Sergey says Yoda. If I were a good host, I would do my best Yoda impression right now, but I just think I think I would falter. Barinda says amid, nice. All right, one section left. We're really working together today. I love to see it. So explosive, and they're telling us that this is an abbreviation. Yeah, King of Straight Fighters writes, crosswords this is, exactly. Doing a Yoda impression in chat. Sergey writes TNT for explosive. That looks good to me. Dancer Fred Blank. 46 down is reply, starting with an AN. And what do we have in these little ones? Contact blank. Okay. Not sure. Skirt opening? Okay. And fruit beverages. Sergey writes answer. Ah, reply. Nice. Sergey is supplying an answer. Great job. So if you reply to a message, you answer it. Cool. Chip dip. We got a rhyming clue. Chip dip. It's not guacamole. Handle skillfully with a W. Becky, welcome. Coming in with salsa. Nice job. Anyone got any pranks planned today? Am I overly invested in April Fool's Day? Bert's buddy. Barinda wrote sauce for chip dip, which is also a reasonable guess. I like salsa just because it's a little more specific. You know, salsa is very specifically a dip that you eat with chips. Sauce is a little more general. You could put, sauce on pasta or whatever. The crosses will eventually tell us which one of these is correct. Bert's buddy. Who's familiar with this media? And what do we have here? Relaxes. Nice, Becky, Bert, and Ernie. Becky, do you solve a lot of crosswords? Yeah, King of Street Fighter says that they eat pasta with salsa. Now I think I'm getting pranked. Contact what? Skirt opening? You try to, yeah. You try to solve a lot of crosswords? Me too. I find them fun, they keep me sharp, they wake me up. It's morning where I am, morning-ish. We got relaxes. Who knows Fred, the dancer? Someone's got to know this. 57 down is contact blank. Oh, Becky telling me that a skirt opening is slip? Maybe. It definitely fits. And Ame and Becky both coming in with Fred Astaire. Love it. Great work. All right. Only a couple. Chica, welcome. Also known Fred Astaire. All right. We're really picking up just for these last few squares here. Barinda says line. Contact line. It's possible. Okay. It fits. But I don't know that the phrase contact line means anything to me. And Zaman writing lane, contact lane. Becky agrees lane. All right, let's put lane in and see what it does. This IA looks a little strange. We might have some errors we need to sort out. So we have fruit beverages here on the end. And what's this? Relaxes? Yeah, things are looking all sorts of askew here. Who thinks they know the fix? Alright, King of Street Fighter's telling me contact lens. That makes sense. That's a lock. Because even though line and lane fit with the letters that we had and they fit in the space, I just don't know what a contact line is or what a contact lane is. But I definitely know what a contact lens is, right? You put it in your eye to see. And Becky correcting, so a skirt opening, maybe not a slip, but a slit. That also fits the clue very nicely. All right, we course corrected perfectly. Becky also telling me that to relax is to rest. And now we are down to our final letter. Handle skillfully, crossing fruit beverages. Kyle writes ales. Definitely a beverage, but is it a fruit beverage? I don't know. Plus that L doesn't look super promising on 62 across. Chica, nice, writes D. And I think D is going to be this last letter here. To handle skillfully is to wield, like a sword. And fruit beverages are aids, like lemonades, lemonade, limeade. So I think D is the final letter of the puzzle. Should I do a dramatic pause? See if we get the confetti or an error message? Here we go, drum roll. Nice work, nice work. We got the confetti. Well earned, everybody. Nice job. These are always so fun to solve together. So much more fun than solving on your own. And if you enjoyed this, do check out Arkadium. They have a million crosswords to solve, other word puzzles, and games galore. You will not get bored if you go to Arkadium, their website or their social media. Check them out. And come back. This is the Daily Crossword Live, so we do it every day. May Castle will be streaming tomorrow at noon Eastern time in the US. That's 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And her stream will be a lot of fun. And go out and prank someone. I didn't see any pranks in chat. It's April Fool's, darn it. Go out and fool your friends. And tell a May all about it tomorrow. All right, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Good work on today's puzzle, and I'll see you soon.